The story has a happy end.
We were discussing project with Damiano, and at some point he said, Sophie, I really would like to do an opera around Animal Farm. This is my childhood dream.
This is the first position.
But suddenly I thought, actually, with Sasha's musical world, it really made sense that he would compose this opera. Sasha, I give you the floor.
After this. Actually, if I have to explain my musical points of view, for me, for myself, I created a formula, 3 letters E: energy, eccentric, and extravagant. If we can remember these 3 E, we will achieve the goal. I was thinking about how to find for every character of this opera his or her own vocal language. Contemporary music made enormous progress in sense of instrumental music in the orchestra, but voices stayed more or less on the same level as 100 years ago. So I created a kind of vocal orchestra with their own timbres, with their own rhythm, and it was for me the most important and the first and the last stage of my work.
So if you don't obey the law, it will be cyanide. Strychnine.
The first time is always a discovery. Sometimes little things I had to reconsider, but in general I even had positive surprises.
Go!
And I think the energy of the music exists. This is for me the most important. I was born in Russia, born directly in the day of funerals of Stalin, and I know that my family suffered a lot in the 30s, 40s, and the beginning of 50s. I remember certain conversations between my parents and my grandfather, who was put in Gulag for 8 years. So for me, a certain remembrance of where I'm coming from, maybe it was the most important source of inspiration, if I may say so. So sad inspiration.
Today we are in the 3rd day of readings with the orchestra. And we were lucky to have the composer from the first rehearsal. So whenever we have a question, we have him aside, and this is really very precious.
Bassem?
Yes?
Actually, I want really to have a vibraphone and crotale arco.
You never heard this opera, and you imagine how the orchestra will sound. Then you come to the first rehearsal, and finally the baby is born. This whole process of making the thing from ink and paper into real sound in the space. It's amazing. I work a lot home before coming to the first rehearsal, reading the libretto and trying to find out what was the choice of the composer, what he enhanced, what he was repeating, and what is the order and why. This is the first question. And then after, it's getting into the music. It's not just music, it's about counting, it's about time, it's about the space, it's about the characters, about the psychology, it's about the quality of the sound. You know, the biggest chance is the cast. We have 18 singers, 2 choirs, and a very big orchestra with a huge amount of percussion. But, you know, when we gather all together is to get all this huge ensemble in one organism, let's say, breathing together, singing together, playing together. It's really a challenge, especially with this amount of people. It's not a chamber opera, it's a huge opera.
The orchestra is very motivated, and I like how they play, how they understand, and the atmosphere is very pleasant and even relaxing, because, you know, we always have to laugh now. And this book also, the irony, sarcasm in this book, and laughing is the last stage of despair. You know, I consider this book like that.